Hi everyone, welcome to Afros in the Diaspora, the Express Corner. This is a series that aims to empower, educate, and support immigrants, whether you're new to Canada or you've been in Canada for a while and you're still finding your feet. Each episode features professionals and community leaders who share practical guides and insights on everything from finances and housing to mental health. We acknowledge the support of Africa Centre and the Canada Service Corps for making the Black Youth Leadership Program possible and helping us create spaces where Black and immigrant voices can thrive. My name is Sarah Owadjai. I'm your host. Let's go. And today we have a very, very special guest with us, Rose Lokiru. And Rose is a Calgary realtor and real estate investor, helping clients achieve home ownership and build long-term wealth. As the founder of Oloma Properties, Inc., she owns and manages multiple rental properties and brings hands-on expertise in property management and the Residential Tenancy Act. Rose is passionate about giving back through community education and empowering others with the knowledge to make confident real estate decisions. Round of applause. Round of applause. We have to put that sound in there. Rose, welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling honored to be here with you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to get into our questions and we're just going to start. Share a little bit about your heritage.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I was born and raised here in Calgary, but my parents come from two different countries. So my dad is from South Sudan. He came to Canada as a refugee, and my mom is from the Philippines. She immigrated here because she got sponsored here for work.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
So like you're part Sudanese and Filipino.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Two completely different cultures coming together in a completely new environment as well for them.
Yeah.
So I'm a second generation immigrant. I'm very proud of that.
Yes.
And what I've learned from my parents being first generation immigrants.
Yeah, that is awesome. And you said you are married to a Nigerian?
I am. Proudly married to a Nigerian man. He is from the Igbo culture, and we've been married for about 3 years. So I have a bit of that culture in my family dynamic now.
Yeah, so like from three different, it's just that must be so beautiful and colorful too.
It is, and a very large family as well.
Of course. So Rose, what inspired you to go into real estate? Like what, and how has that journey shaped your view of home and belonging?
So I didn't know anything about real estate maybe 5-10 years ago. I didn't come from a family that was in real estate. My parents were not entrepreneurial. They were very much in survival mode, like most immigrants, right? They just wanted stability. But I've always wanted more out of life. And, you know, it came with being curious and talking to people. And also I give credit to my Nigerian husband because land is very important to people, especially in Africa, I would say. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yes.
Land is more than just ownership. It's legacy.
Yes.
It's cultural. There's social and economic factors to the land. So with my husband coming to Canada most recently and being able to explain that to me kind of opened my eyes to the world of real estate and how do we bring those values of the land we had back home here in Canada. And it takes education, right? So being out there and learning from others, that's kind of how I got into real estate. I was just like, you know, if other people can do it, I can do it too.
Energy, yes.
And the main purpose of getting into real estate was because I wanted, of course, all the benefits that come with it for myself, but also to be able to share with others, because some people don't have the resources to find that information about purchasing a home, or they don't have those established connections.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And like you touched on something so like important, land to Africans, West Africans.
Yes.
Like it's so interesting because you'd hear people even here in Canada, like they're on the phone and they're speaking the language
Exactly.
and then by the time they get off the phone, you're like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Is everything okay? And they're like, oh my gosh, they're trying to sell my father's land.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And land
Yeah.
is so like, it's so important. It's so
Yes.
valuable. It's more than just owning a land. It's legacy, like you said.
Yeah.
It's their status that comes with it. There's all these economic things too. So thank you so much for touching
of
on
course.
that. Just to get a little personal
Sure.
for your own journey,
Yeah.
what is one mistake you made early in your real estate journey that you now help your clients avoid?
I would say one mistake was I didn't start early enough.
Oh.
And that's what a lot of my clients, they wish that they bought before. Like a lot of them have been in this country for maybe 10 years plus and have always rented and just never thought about buying or thought that they could purchase. And it's just could be lack of knowledge or even lack of confidence. So my mistake was I had a full-time job. I had graduated from university. I had a full-time job, making good income, saving money, but just saving as just like an emergency fund or just keeping funds here and there. And I didn't utilize it to like move myself forward because I didn't think I could, or I didn't have anyone informing me of what I could do in real estate. So I'm really glad to be that tool to other people. Like they see that I'm in real estate, whether it's on like Facebook or like any other social media platform, and just giving them that idea even of thinking about homeownership, or maybe they learn something from a video or from this podcast as well. So
that is so good because like I've heard, and sometimes there's so much misinformation on social media, which is where people basically get their information from nowadays. Where like I've seen videos of people saying, oh, it's more economical and financially prudent to just rent for your lifetime. Because like, yeah, you're responsible for it if anything happens in the house. Like you have to do insurance if it gets broken into, And like no one's like, all those things could happen. Like life do be lifing, right? But I feel like the values of it, like the positives far outweigh the negatives. Would you talk more about that? Like what do you feel are some positives to home ownership and investing? You've talked a little bit about that already, but I just want to shine a light on that because I feel like some people just believe, what's the point of buying a house and putting all that money for down payment and getting debt and mortgage while you could just rent and be debt free in that sense and stuff. Would you just clear up that misinformation?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I completely understand why people think that way, like renting is more beneficial and they have all these reasons, but I also feel like it's a shield for people because maybe they don't have the confidence in themselves or believe that they could achieve such wealth or such ownership. That's what I think. I think it's rooted deeply in mentally and like what they think about themselves. The good things about home ownership is just freedom, like freedom to do what you want with your property. When you're a tenant, like you have to get permission from your landlord to put things up, like a painting or something, or to do any changes to the property, even as simple as painting a wall. So who wants to live in that kind of homes, a place that you call home, and you're not able to make simple changes that fit what you want? That makes sense. But also security. You have access to loans, credit, other programs or assets that the bank could offer you in order for you to maybe invest in other things. So when you own a house, it opens doors.
Oh, wow.
Because there's something called equity, right? So if you own a home that's worth $500,000, but you only owe like $200,000, then that's $200,000 worth of equity that the bank sees or adds to your net worth.
Right.
And some people don't see it that way. They think that, oh, it's just taking out more loans, getting more into debt. But it could open the opportunity for you to like maybe purchase another asset. Maybe you'll use that to renovate the home to make it more of your liking. It could also help you to renovate your house to have multi-generational family living with you. You can build like a suite or something or rent it out, make more income from that. So there's lots of avenues and things that you could do with owning and what the banks could provide you essentially.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because like that makes a lot of sense, because I've been a tenant in my life, and I've lived in places where you can't put a pin in the wall.
Yeah.
You can't hang up a painting. You can't paint the wall, and
Yeah.
there's so many rules.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes landlords just they do be going extreme with it.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a bit.
For sure.
But you really touched on some positives, like how it's like you're seen kind of as more fiscally responsible by the banks, and all of a sudden you have equity, and all of a sudden you have like they are like, come, let's give you more money for more things, to build more wealth, to build more equity and assets and stuff like that. And sometimes dealing with the bank, like I feel like people have been so burnt by banks and loans and credit score, and like, especially coming from I'm Nigerian, right? So coming from a place where you pay for it or you don't have it. You either pay or you don't have it. Right. You're either rich or you're poor. Like, there's no such thing as credit. There's no such thing as credit score, credit report. There's no such thing as building equity. Your equity is what you have. You put that as collateral if you're looking for something else, and that's just what it is. To a community or a society where credit is kind of king.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like from how you use your credit cards to if you pay them, your student loans, all these things build up credit or destroy credit depending. And so like it's a bit of a jarring, like you either have it or you don't. I don't have the money, might as well rent. You know what I mean? So because that's the mentality, you know, from different communities, people move here and it's like, well, I can't afford a $400,000 house. I'll just rent for $2,000 a month. Yeah. Meanwhile, it could be that they're paying that $2,000 towards the $400,000
exactly.
home. So yeah, you touched on something really, really powerful there. So I mentioned a bit about landlords. I have had my fair share of wonderful landlords. We'll call them that. Sure. But that's the thing, right? A lot of people don't realize that they have rights, and they have like, because I feel like people get in situations where you're a tenant and there are all these rules you have to follow. And there's sort of kind of this like weird fear or intimidation that people experience from the landlords to where it's like, oh, I can't do this or else. I can't do this or else I don't get my deposit back, right? I can't. And fair, I mean, if there are rules, I guess follow them. But sometimes it gets to a place where, you know, the landlords start to take advantage of people.
Exactly. Yeah.
For instance, a person is renting out the basement of their home, a 1-bedroom basement, and you know, above board is a 3-bedroom home, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, utilities, we split it equally. And it's like, how is it equal? How are we splitting utilities and Wi-Fi and all those things equally when I'm just 1 bedroom and you have 3 bedrooms upstairs, right? Like, you know, things like that where people just feel like they have no choice. Like, I guess I need to pay it. You know, things like that exist. Or where a landlord is just like, I've experienced this, where the landlord's like, oh, my family is visiting from China and they need to stay here, so you need to leave. And it's just like, well, okay, I guess we need to leave. It's not right, right? So tell us about some of those tenancy rights, some of the, like, so that people know that you have rights as a tenant. Like, there's some things that can not be done. And if anyone tries that with you, you have the right to do whatever. So please tell us more. Tell us more of that.
I mean, I'd like to add that my husband and I, with our company, Loma Properties, Inc., one thing that makes us stand out is that we've been in the shoes of being a tenant, being a homeowner, being a property manager, a landlord, even like an Airbnb host and guest. So we come with that experience and empathy when it comes to our business. So we're really glad to be able to share personal experience and work with our clients, whoever comes with us with any issues, and be able to advise them on how to go about it and find a solution.
Yeah.
But some things that all tenants and all landlords should know, like one is you need to know the difference between living in a suite versus living in a shared living space, because those two are governed very differently. So there's the Residential Tenancy Act that governs all independent living spaces. Like if you have your own separate entrance, kitchen, bedroom and basement, that's considered a suite. So that is governed by the Alberta regulations. Whereas if you, let's say you rent a room in a house and you're sharing it with the homeowner, you share the kitchen, the same entrance, that is completely different. If there's an issue, you would have to go through like a civil matter, like go to court for that.
Oh, wow.
Whereas anything else, like if it's a basement suite, like I said, then, you know, it's a bit easier. You would just go through the residential tenancy dispute. It's called RTDRS. So it's easier to apply. It's like $75 to file a claim. Your case will be reviewed by like a board, and it's not like court, and it's not, you're not spending thousands of dollars on like legal fees as if it was a shared accommodation. So that's one thing to take note of. And the Residential Tenancy Act is widely available online through the Alberta government. Everyone should read on it. Everyone should attend a course if you can. Sometimes there are free courses or paid courses to get to know your rights and responsibilities. There's also an organization called the Calgary Residential Rental Association, CRRA. So I highly recommend that for both landlords and tenants. If you have any questions about the RTA, reach out to them. Also reach out to me. I'm happy to share anything. A few things that I've also noticed that some tenants don't know is that you should always do a move-in and move-out inspection report and have it signed. So before you move in, I would say within 10 days of moving in, or even before moving in, do that report, do that inspection with the landlord. Have it written down, sign it, have a copy of it, take photos, videos of everything, even the small things, even if there's like holes in the wall, like you said, that, you know, some landlords don't like that. So that you're not liable to like patch it up later on or for the cost of doing so. And then when you move out, do an inspection as well, sign it so that you ensure that you get your security deposit back. Second, another third thing would be security deposits. Security deposits cannot be more than what you pay for your monthly rent. So if your rent is $1,000, they cannot ask you for more than $1,000.
Wait, pause. Because I like some landlords charge like ask for like the last 2 months rent or something like that.
No, so you're only required to pay 1 month's rent and the security deposit.
And the security deposit cannot be more than
1 month's rent.
No way.
Yeah. So if it was $1,000 for your rent, then another $1,000 for your security deposit, that's all you're required to pay. Anyone who's asking for more, maybe they're asking for security. I mean, they typically do that with newcomers, right? But that is also taking advantage of newcomers because that's not the law. It's not required.
Okay.
So please don't offer 3 to 6 months worth of rent upfront because it's not required.
Right.
And there are landlords out there who are understanding of your situation, especially being a newcomer, and will give you the benefit of the doubt to trust you with their properties. So look for those people.
I know, like, because sometimes it's a desperate situation, right? Like you're just moving and maybe you have money for just a hotel for maybe a week. And within that week, you're responsible for finding a place to stay or you're homeless, basically. Right? So, and without an address, you can apply for a job here. And like, there's so many things that are dependent on you being able to find a place.
Fixed address.
So so exactly. So it's very, so it gets really tricky where people are like, I'll take anything I can get. And then people sometimes get locked into some of these leases.
Exactly.
That are like,
And like also other ways around it could be they could get a family or friend that they know here in Calgary. I know not everyone has that ability or privilege of having one, but offering a co-signer on your lease instead of paying 3 to 6 months upfront is way better for you, especially so that you have an emergency fund if anything were to happen.
I think people are so scared because I know I'm scared of co-signing anything because then it's also tied to your credit. And if they don't pay, your credit is in the shit.
They come after you as well.
Excuse me. Your credit is in the gutter. Like, it's a mess, you know? And so, like, there's a level of, like, trust and, like, that goes into co-signing that me personally, I've heard so many horror stories, like, but I don't realize the importance of paying your bills. And I mean, like, it's supposed to be a no-brainer, but anyway, like, people are so scared to do that now because you know, I'm liable if I co-sign with you and you trash the place or you default on payments or whatever, I'm responsible. And so people are just like, life is hard enough, man. Like, if I don't want to have to be responsible for another grown adult. So that's another thing where it's like, people are really hesitant too. But, okay, another question, because like, we're talking a lot about rent, landlords and rent and, you know, renting and stuff like that and some of the things that, and like, I don't want to go into a rant. I'm really holding it in. I'll try not to. But how do you feel like immigrants or people in general can protect themselves from rental scams and unfair landlords?
They could protect themselves by, I would say, not signing anything until they're here. I feel like there's a lot of trust in some new immigrants who will do video call, maybe not even video calls, maybe just see photos online on Facebook and just chat the person, and because they're in need of a place in a short period of time, they'll do whatever that person tells them to do, like send a deposit to hold the place, and then when they come here it's already gone. I think it's really important that you try to get informed about the way the rental market is or the rental system is here in Calgary, whether it's through people that you know, or maybe there's a lot of community associations here, like Nigerian Community Association. There's even like South Sudanese ones, like reaching out to community members, because I feel if they don't have the answer, they're able to connect you to those people. But Facebook Marketplace is actually pretty good to find rentals. Don't just rely on like Rent Faster. Facebook Marketplace, it's a lot of like regular landlords. It's not like bigger property management companies. So some people prefer to rent from individuals or homeowners themselves because they're a bit more lenient or they're a bit more understanding of your situation. Whereas property management companies, like, we ask for credit reports. We ask for a lot of documentation that you might not have. So if there's other ways to protect themselves, it would just be doing your due diligence, just like anything else. Think of it like you're making a purchase too. Make sure that there's a legal lease in place. Read through it word for word. If you have a lawyer friend or someone in the legal field, even if it's back home, let them read it as well too. Like, be very open before signing a contract and before sending money. So that's how they should protect themselves.
And like, if someone is asking for money before you sign a lease, that's kind of a red flag?
It is a red flag. But some property management companies are asking for deposits. I mean, I personally don't. Some people have deposits for even like when you view the place and if you like it, or an application fee, like a $50 fee.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's not common, and honestly, it's not by law, but it's also not illegal either.
Yeah, but it seems like a shark, where it's like pay or else. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it doesn't feel good. Anyway, moving on. When do you feel like it makes sense for an immigrant to consider buying a house instead of renting? Because, I mean, people have so many different situations, right? Like, a lawyer or a doctor back home cannot come here and become a lawyer or doctor right away, right?
Unfortunately,
there's a lot of retraining and exams and all of that they have to qualify. So, like, income levels, you know, for the first few years, people are trying to get on their feet. Like you said, stability with your parents, right? And survival mode and trying to make it work. And doing a survival job until they're able to get their real career back or go to school or whatever the case may be. So what would you say would be a good time for a person to start considering buying a house? or even like some of the preparation they can start to do, like just watching this, what would you say would be like a list of, okay, make sure your credit is crediting. Make sure it's not in the pits.
Yes, yes.
You know, like some of those things. So
Yeah.
I asked 2 questions there. Let me know if you need me to repeat it.
That's okay. I mean, it's very case by case. I have had a client who was new to Canada, and he purchased within 6 months of being here.
Wonderful.
Like, there's a few things that you need as a newcomer if you're thinking about buying. Like, first of all, you need to have at least 3 months worth of employment history here in Canada specifically. You also have to have a history of, credit if you want to pay that minimum 5 to 10% down payment. If you don't have a history of credit, then you need to pay 20%, which is a higher down payment. And also you need to have valid PR status, or, there are some instances, like if you have a work permit that's a certain number of days, then you are able to get money from the bank as well. So those are like the 3 main things. But for anyone who's thinking about purchasing as a newcomer, so long as you're thinking about it and you know that that's your plan, whether it's in a year, in 5 years, it's so important to just reach out to a realtor, a mortgage broker, or your bank, and just get all the information so that you can have direction on how to get there.
Right.
It's not just about saving a down payment and then, all of a sudden it will happen. Like, maybe you do need some advice on how to build your credit, right?
Yeah.
And building credit means you need to get a credit card, spend some money. Like, some people are like, no, I don't want a balance on my credit card, or I don't want a credit card.
Yeah.
But that is so important to build credit.
That is so helpful. And I know that like getting out of some debt for people who already have, like maybe reducing your student loan, or because I've heard stories where it's like, apparently there's a threshold.
Yeah.
I heard, but that you can't like go past with your debt ratio.
Yes, that's right.
So like if you already have some debt, where let's say you're paying off your credit card month by month, and let's say you owe $1,000 and you're paying it $25.
Yeah.
And it's like at $750.
Yeah.
They may ask you to pay it off to be able to like qualify.
Right.
With that debt ratio thing. I don't know what it's called. I don't know the legal term.
Yeah, and I'm not like a mortgage broker or financial advisor, but I believe the number is about like 44%-ish around there. So whatever, like if you have a credit card of $1,000, like try to not spend over that $400 mark. Like try to keep it lower than that 40 to 30%, so that your debt isn't shown as like you're using a lot of debt, or you're increasing a lot of debt and then not paying it down.
Right.
Yeah. But I would like to add that I feel like being an immigrant, you also have an advantage though, because you don't have any history at all. Like whatever happened back home, hopefully nothing crazy.
They're not after your life.
Yeah, you don't owe anyone money. But you come here, it's a fresh start, like a brand new page for you to set your future straight, right? For success. And, my husband has a higher credit score than I do. And he's been in the country, obviously, for a less amount of time. Like, he's been here for about 8 years. And I was born and raised here. And I'm not late on payments or anything. Like, I don't use crazy amount of credit, but he just has a stellar score compared to me. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like there's opportunity there, and it takes, knowledge and learning from other people how to do so.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because I know some people, they move here and they're like, credit, free money, let's go spend it. Yeah. And some people just do not have folks to advise them properly, or they hear the advice and they're like, nah. I'll pay it off.
Yeah, and then that's why we have this podcast.
Yeah, so, let's educate people a little bit. Okay, so what government programs or incentives can first-time home buyers take advantage of?
So there's quite a few. One is this first-time home buyers plan, where you can save up to $8,000 annually. It's tax-free. You just put money in there. It's similar to a tax-free savings account, but this is focused on purchasing your first home. So the funds have to go towards your down payment for the home. Another one is also being able to pull money out of your retirement savings. So this may not apply to some people because, you know, not everyone is actively saving for their retirement or thinking about it, or you're maybe new to the country, like you're thinking about right now or the next few years.
My rent next month.
But you may have like a retirement plan with your work even that you may be eligible to pull out a certain, I can't remember the exact number, but there's an amount that you can pull out and then you have 25 years to pay it back. So eventually you do have to put that money back in, even though you're using it for the purpose of purchasing a home. Personally, if like to share my own opinion, I don't love the programs or the incentives. Like, first of all, I don't actively save too much into my RRSP. That's one. And second of all, you have to put that money back. But it's your money. You're putting money, you're borrowing your own money, but then you're required to put it back. And that money that you're putting into that fund, the bank is using it to also invest. So any retirement fund, education fund that you have at the banks are using that to invest and make money for themselves. So why not, if you have money sitting in your checkings or your tax-free savings account, why wouldn't you yourself invest that money for yourself instead of giving it to someone or another entity to invest and build off of you?
Make money off of you, wow.
Yeah.
That's so well said. I think that, like, because we're just made to believe, okay, this is the way. You know what I mean? You put the money in the TFSA, it's tax-free. You put the RRSP saved towards retirement. And, you know, I have not started thinking about my retirement. Man, I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't want to work till I die, but I also, I want to make $20 million on a film set.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, dreams and aspirations and all that. But yeah, it's so interesting you said that you're not really a fan of those, because like I feel like a lot of people who know about it, some people are kind of sort of banking on some of those like incentives that you just mentioned. So would it be a thing where you don't recommend people to go for it?
I still definitely recommend, like, I recommend doing it because maybe it's a way for you to like put your money into an account and make you feel like you can't touch it. Maybe that's something. But essentially, it's the same money that you are saving yourself. It's not like someone's giving you free money to do it,
it's your money.
They're not matching the amount either. So it's your money. I would just rather not have it locked and given to someone else to invest in the meantime.
That's a smart way to look at it. Okay. How can newcomers prepare their credit, savings, and documentation for mortgage approval? How would you say?
For newcomers.
Or people who like want to buy their first house, like home.
And
like, because they're immigrants who have been here 5 years and they're like, okay, now maybe I'm ready to start thinking about buying a home. So it's not necessarily like just like I just got into the country, like a house immediately. And like I think there was a time where like once you buy a property, you're given PR status. Like I don't know if it was here in the US where you buy a property of a certain amount and you get your papers.
I believe so. That was back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think they do that anymore.
No. I mean, there is right now like a foreign buyer ban. So if you don't have your PR, like if you're here on a visitor status or student visa or work permit, if it's less than a certain number of days, then you're not eligible to purchase. And that ban was to like help with the very high demand of our housing and the prices going up. That was to limit that because over the years in Canada, lots of people could just purchase homes. And there was a whole movement for over a long period of time. Like, for example, from people in China, like they wanted to get their money out from the banks or, their businesses, and they invested in real estate in Vancouver and Toronto, like these major cities. And that's why we see such high prices in those cities. To answer your question though, to prepare yourself, whether you're a newcomer or someone who's been here 5+ years, I mean, 3 things, of course. You need to check like, which I mentioned, like you need to check mark off is, do you have valid status? Do you have a job that's at least 3 months history? Usually it's best that you work a full-time job and it's permanent. And then third is to have that credit history. So credit history could also be looked at from other countries, depending on the country. So my client who bought within 6 months, he had credit history when he was living in the UK. So that helped. So maybe you came from the UK or like a developed country a bit more that's closer. Oh, sorry.
My country's developed.
It's developed.
Continue. I know what you're talking about.
But you know what I mean? That have similar economies to Canada, I would say.
Nicely put.
Yeah. If you come from those kind of countries, they could also look at your history from there, which would help with your pre-approval. Right. In terms of documentation, you just need your work stuff. So go to HR, get an employment letter. If you file your taxes, your T4s, having that prepared. Also having valid ID. So if you don't have Canadian ID, make sure you get that so that you can provide that. And it's simple. It's a pre-approval process. So they're not going to be asking you for everything up front. They just want to get an idea of your history and your employment, and they'll give you a number, but it's not official yet. Like the pre-approval just helps to set a budget and give us an idea of what you're looking for or what you can look for.
So that's like all the like what you just said, your tax history, your work history, all that you give to a real estate agent to look.
You actually give that to a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor at the bank. So you could work with either. I prefer working with mortgage brokers because they have access to all the banks. Whereas if you bank with TD and you only go to TD, then they only offer you programs that they have or interest rates that they have. Right. So you might as well go to a broker and see what else is out there.
Available, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say, or what advice do you have for someone who wants to buy their first home within the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, I think the main thing that stops people or hinders people from purchasing is the down payment. Yeah. Because we all are working. I mean, we have to work for a living. But the down payment it could be significant sometimes. But let's say a $400,000 home, the minimum down payment is 5%. So that's $20,000. $20,000 is significant for people. Like you can't just save that in 1 year. I mean, depending on your income. What you do and yeah, but it's a lot for people. So I would break that down over the 5 years, how much, you need to put aside monthly, bi-weekly. It really depends on how aggressive you want to save. But it's also maybe looking at cutting things down in your life, like subscriptions. Think about gym membership. You pay like $40 bi-weekly. That's like about $960 a month, or $960 a year, not a month.
That was quick math.
Yeah, $960 a year. Can you sacrifice that for maybe a year or two? Just continue to add that to your down payment savings. But another thing that people don't know is that you can get gifted a down payment. So your family, let's say they have money sitting around from somewhere, or they, like for example, my parents, they own a property already. They had some equity. They could actually give me some of that, pull out that equity, $20,000 from their current house and give it to me with no issue. And I could use that as a down payment. Wow. All they have to do is just sign off on a letter that they're gifting me the funds for the purpose of buying a home.
So is that something that people with families, say in Nigeria, in Jamaica, like outside of Canada, can that gifting, does it also apply?
Unfortunately, it's only for people who are here. Like
really?
So
say my parents are based in Nigeria now, so they can't like gift me a down payment money?
There might be ways around it, but because there's that foreign buyer ban, like you'd have, I mean, this is more of a legal question. I'm not a lawyer.
Gotcha.
But they don't want it to seem like it's a foreign person buying property. Yes. So, but I'm sure there's ways around it because Yeah, family can gift you the money. Or some people use their student loans.
Really?
Yeah, you might have excess student loans that you didn't use towards your tuition or whatever. You could use that as a down payment so long as the money has been sitting in your account for 90 days. They don't really look at the history that deep. So,
Oh wow.
not encouraging money laundering or
Yeah, no,
anything.
we're not doing that. We don't encourage breaking the law. We don't encourage money laundering or any. Please, no. Follow the law and respect.
Yeah, but there's lots of creative ways to find a down payment.
Creatively legal ways.
Legal ways or gray areas.
But okay, so I feel like that could be a source of relief though, because like
for sure
saving 20K out of how much is a person earning could take such a long time, and realizing that you can actually gifts are okay, and like especially if the money has been in your account for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
That's kind of good news. Like a lot of people do not know that. I'm not sure I knew that. Like
really?
Yeah.
There's also like rent to own programs where you pay a slightly higher rent, but a portion of that is going towards like your down payment towards purchasing the house that you're renting.
Say that again. Because I've seen these rent to own and I'm like, scam. Scam, they're scamming. Like how can you rent to own? That's not a thing. But are you saying
possible.
It is a thing?
It is definitely possible. So let's say you live in a townhome and the market rent is maybe $2,000 just to make it easier. The homeowner wants to sell you that property, but they know that you're trying to save for your down payment. So they may charge you $2,500, and that $500 portion is going towards the down payment of the house. So they give you a length of time, like maybe you agree to rent this house for 5 years at the $2,500 mark, and $500 from your monthly payments are going towards your down payment. So after the 5 years, hopefully, you owe a bit less for your down payment. You are able to qualify in 5 years because maybe you need time to build your employment history or credit score. Now, the only downside is if you're not ready in that 5-year agreement, then you kind of just paid all this higher rent amount for nothing.
So who does the money go to? So is this like a normal, say, Rose renting out a property and doing a rent to own program, or is it like the home is owned by the developers or like the government, the bank? Like how does that all work out?
Some of them are like privately owned by people who are willing to do this. I mean, you'd want to work with someone who's knowledgeable about this and have correct contracts in place. But there's also sometimes a third party like company that kind of facilitates the whole deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is possible for sure to do rent to own. It's costly up front as well. So you'd have to weigh out the pros and cons for yourself and your family.
Wow. Okay, that's new. That's good to know. I could have sworn that was a scam. I could have sworn they're just trying to get your information and clear out your account or mess with your history. So it's really good to know that it's a real thing. People can actually rent to own the property.
Yes. There is also another program.
Please.
It's through Liberty Mortgage. I do not represent them. I am also not someone who's been through the program, but I have had a client who sold their property and they were a buyer through that program. So all they had to do was put $1,500 as a down payment. And as a single person, they were able to enter the real estate market, buy a property, which was in a condo apartment, because that Liberty Mortgage Company, they pretty much will own the property with you. It's like a shared ownership, and they help you with the rest of the down payment.
Right.
So you're only coming in at $1,500. You have to have a minimum income of $75,000 annually, and then of course you have to provide proof of that. You file taxes, employment
salary,
letters,
identity.
But those are like the two main requirements.
The co-ownership with the company that you just talked about, like how then? So then, do you just co-own the company for life? Or like, is there, what happens to where you become the independent
owner? So let's say 5 to 10 years down the road, you make more money, or you have whatever, your life circumstances
Win the
change
lottery,
where you're able to qualify for the existing mortgage on your own at the time of renewal, because when you purchase a home, you lock it for a year, 3 years, or 5 years. So at the time of renewal, you can then try to qualify with a bank independently on your own for that mortgage. Let's say you still owe about $200,000 on that mortgage. If you can qualify, then you can simply go to a lawyer and pretty much discharge or pay off that company to remove their name off of your title.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. There's so many avenues to home ownership.
There is.
I didn't. Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's recently new, but definitely look into Liberty Mortgages. It's working with a builder. A builder is offering this to make ownership more accessible.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the, wait, I don't know if I've already asked you this, so I'll ask it again, but what would you say are some of the mistakes that first-time home buyers make? Because a friend of mine who works with a development company was telling me that sometimes people buy the home without seeing it, because obviously still being developed, still being built, and so they see the 3D plan and they see the pictures and everything.
Yeah.
But by the time they arrive at the actual place, it is way smaller.
Yeah.
Or it is, it's inaccurate, or they have this idea in their head and it's not what the reality is. And so now they've spent so much money, this down payment for the house. It's theirs legally.
Yeah.
But now they're a family of 8 that cannot fit into this house. They thought it was bigger, but it's not. Yeah. So like that's a like when she said that, I'm like, okay, take a mistake I will never make.
Noted.
Noted.
Yeah.
But would you mind telling me some of those mistakes that people make? They may not even realize in the moment that I probably shouldn't be doing this, but then down the road they're like, you know what I mean? So please.
Yeah, I think to expand on like that new build construction that you mentioned about your friend's situation, I would also say that people just want new builds, or like they have certain expectations of homes that they want brand new, they want it super big, and they don't take the time to look at other options. Like I think being very open with your first home especially is really important, because what you could have bought for $400,000 5 years ago is very different to what you can buy right now.
Right.
And you need to understand, is this something that I want to move? Like, am I okay to move into a townhome when I could have moved into a home? But you also have to accept that this is the reality. Like a single family home may not go back down to $400,000 anymore. Right. So in terms of like the new build and not, they didn't know that it would be small, like as small as it was. There are show homes available, like with new builds. Like even though they're like the community is not built yet, they usually have like 1 or 2 show homes that give you an idea of the layout and the size of the home. So definitely go into show homes first before you sign anything. Not all of us are architects. We can't visualize measurements and floor plans. Yeah. So it's really important to see what you purchase. Especially for your first home. And don't go into a show home without a realtor, please.
Oh, really?
If you go into a show home without a realtor, you're pretty much going in there unrepresented. You can't bring a realtor in afterwards.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
So I can't just walk into a show home with, like, I see it by the side of the road, I like it, I see it, and then I bring a real estate agent later?
Yeah, like if you stop by, usually they'll ask for your personal information. And you would think maybe they're going to send you good deals and just send you their inventory, but you're pretty much signing that you're going to be unrepresented. So always at least know who you might be working with as like your realtor, so you can give that information, or go in with a realtor that you're working with. So tip on this side.
Okay, noted.
But also for first-time investors, about new builds though, lots of investors from BC and Ontario have invested in pre-construction homes here in Calgary and Alberta in general. So pre-construction is you're purchasing a new home, you haven't seen it, it's not built yet, the possession date may be in a year or 2 years. So it's very risky to purchase those because you pretty much have to have stable employment and stable Like your life circumstances pretty much can't change in that 1 to 2 years. And that's what buyers don't realize.
Right.
They think that when they sign for that brand new home and it's getting built, that everything is fine. You actually have to get a final approval from the bank and an insurance company before you move in.
Wow.
And it has to be closer to that date of when the house is done. So 1 to 2 years is a long time and anything can happen. I've had clients who've lost their jobs and they've signed for a new build. Like it's very stressful.
Yeah.
So now they either have to put a higher down payment or they have to get a co-signer to close, or else you lose your deposit because you pay maybe a $40K deposit on a house and you just lose it.
So wait, the deposit is the down payment that they're paying?
It's part of your down payment, yes, but
Wow.
You lose it if you can't close at the end of the day. So it's risky with new builds.
Right.
And also, let's say everything is fine, your life circumstances don't change, right? Now the economy can change, okay? So the house value, let's say you bought a house for $500,000 today. Next year, it's going to be worth $400,000 because of the economy.
Right.
House prices are going to drop. I guess $400,000 isn't bad, but if the bank finds that your house value is much lower than what you paid for, then you have to pay the extra amount, if that makes sense. So
wait, pay the extra? Aren't they supposed to give you money back? Do you know what I mean? Like if you paid for a house when you paid for it, it was $500,000, and then the value came down to like $350,000. I feel like so you then the down payment you paid is higher than the value of the house now, right?
Maybe I'm not explaining this right.
Oh.
It's more risk for the lender,
Right.
per se. So they don't want the risk that you paid such a high, so the amount that you paid for the house doesn't change.
Right.
So you paid and you agreed to pay $500,000 for a house that's now worth $400,000. The bank doesn't like that difference. So you're going to have to pay up more of a down payment to make sure that the lender or the bank doesn't have that extra loss, or they feel like it's not as risky.
So then the loss is on the person
Yes.
that paid the down payment, not on the bank or the
Not on
lender
the bank.
or the...
Yeah. You are liable for that.
Wow.
So a lot of people are either, paying more of a down payment to make sure that they close the deal, or they end up losing the property because they can't afford to pay more higher down payment. So it's risky with like new builds. So just, that's why, just like I said, be open. Like look at resale homes. There's resale homes could even be a home that a homeowner owned for a year or two. That's still a pretty new house, right?
Yeah.
So be open.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was also asking like what mistakes you find the people, other than like new builds, which has been so eye-opening.
Yeah.
What would you say are some other mistakes that people make, other than like not buying earlier, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you say are some things? Because I've heard of people who buy homes without proper inspection.
Yeah.
And then they move in. And then it falls apart. Or, and like there are movies about it too, where it's a comedy and like, or whatever. But like, that's a nightmare. Just thinking about that for me is like, But yeah, what would you say are some things where people don't?
Yeah,
they overlook something and they're like, oh shit, or,
There was a client, like someone who came to me who was under contract for a property, meaning she put in an offer with a realtor on a house and it was accepted, but because of whatever reason, the realtor and they didn't put any conditions for the purchase of the property. So when you put an offer in, you could have conditions of financing and conditions of an inspection, like you said. Therefore, if it doesn't pass inspection or if you can't get financing, then you can back out of the deal, get your deposit back, like you're safe. Those conditions are very important to have. And when the market was very busy and there was high demand, low inventory, a lot of people were panicking because, they wanted to purchase the house that they want. So they were kind of willing to not put those conditions in, but it puts you at risk, right? You don't want to go into a home that hasn't been inspected, and then you find that you have issues with the water lines
or mold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing with that after the fact, and you probably, paid a high amount for a property like that. So that's one thing to be mindful of, like always have conditions, especially now that our market is changing in Calgary. It's a bit more balanced. Buyers have a bit more choice and can request for a bit more things from the sellers. So keep always making sure that you put conditions of financing and inspection. Other mistakes would be just, here's one, is that if you go to a bank to get a pre-approval, sometimes they do a very limited pre-approval and give you the amount that you kind of want to see. So if you tell them, I want 500,000, like maybe they'll find a way to give you a pre-approval of 500,000. And then we go searching for a home and, we find a house that's maybe 490,000. It's perfect. But then when we're getting your final approval at the end, you don't actually get approved for 490,000. It's a bit lower. So I think people also need to have that know the expectation is, even if you're approved or pre-approved 500,000, you may not get that amount. It can still fall apart, even if you're within that budget, you find the perfect home, you have the down payment. It's just the circumstances of what's behind the scenes that we don't have control of.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I feel like we could be talking about this for the next 3 hours and the time literally will zoom right by. But let me ask you this final question, because sometimes people choose to, come together, say, a husband and wife buy a house together, or siblings buy a house together, or friends or whatever come together to buy a house, put a down payment, they co-own it and everything.
Yes.
What would you say people like that should know about? Like, what would you say they should avoid? What can they put in place to make sure that it's a smooth process, but it also remains smooth, at the end of the day, where conflicts don't arise and that sort of thing?
Exactly. Well, for married couples, usually it all comes down to how it's organized with the lawyer at the time of closing. So I highly recommend always purchasing with people that you trust, right? It gives you the power to have a higher mortgage amount, so you can buy something bigger, buy something that has maybe a suite so you can rent it out. It opens doors to what you can purchase when you come together as a team or community to buy. Before you close on a house, speaking to a lawyer on how the percentages or ownership will be laid out on the title is really important. When you're a married couple, usually it's called joint tenancy. So pretty much when one person of the couple passes away, then automatically the living spouse will take 100% ownership. That's what a joint tenancy is. But there is another one where you can actually break it down, where let's say you own 50-50 of the property, and then if you pass away, it could go into an estate, and that estate can be written as a will to a child or to whoever you want it to go to. So it wouldn't automatically go to the other person on title.
Right.
So knowing how you want it structured and communicating that with the lawyer is really important. Right. And that also protects your interests, right? Don't just have a verbal agreement or write your own agreement. Always have the lawyer draft it for you, have your signatures on it, and it will be registered on the house title. Yeah.
How does it become more complicated when it's more than one person?
It does. And there's also, it gets complicated when, let's say, you're purchasing as a business, because people who own businesses like corporations, you can purchase houses through a corporation.
I didn't know that.
Some people buy. So as an investor, I purchase as much as I can personally, but we all have limits, right? The bank will never continue to qualify you unless you become a millionaire or billionaire, right? Typically, they only allow for 5 to 7 houses under an individual person. again, it's dependent on your income. But what people do is they would move or transfer those properties to a corporation. So now the business owns it. So that frees up my ability to purchase more personally, because it's easier. The down payment is less, but those are ways to like purchase more.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay,
Yeah.
wow. Rose, we have talked so much. I've learned so much, and my brain is full. I feel like I'm still computing a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
know.
It's like,
I know.
wait, join tenancy, rent to own. Okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I know there's a lot more that I didn't mention.
I bet there is. We'll probably call you back for part 2, I am sure. But I just wanted to give you a chance to share about yourself and your business and where people can find you.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so about me, my husband and I started Uloma Properties Incorporated about 3, almost 4 years ago. And ever since then, we were able to purchase 4 properties. We own a range, like from condos to single family home. We are now looking into development. So pretty much demolishing a single family home and building a multifamily unit. So it would be like 3 townhouses with basement suites, just so we could add supply to the shortage of houses in Canada and be able to build community and just, build wealth as well at the same time.
Absolutely.
And from those experiences, being able to learn and teach others as well. I think mentorship and education is very important for my husband and I. So we try to, improve ourselves and learn as much as we can just so that we could give that back to other people.
Wow.
So I'm happy to share any information about real estate, being a tenant, landlords, anything real estate related. You can follow me on social media, Rose Realty Calgary. My Facebook is Rose Lokiru. My number is posted all over if you search me up, even on Google. I have like my little cousins searching me up on Google and they're like, we see your phone number, we see your photos. So feel free to reach out. Like I've had friends from elementary school who call out of nowhere and they're like, you're a realtor, right? I have a question. And I'm so happy to get those calls from people that, we don't talk to every day, but, they see that I'm out there and they're willing to trust the advice that I have. So I hold a lot of gratitude to be in a position like this. And I just hope that people watching this podcast really take advantage of that.
Thank you so much again,
course.
Rose, for joining us. And for our listeners, thank you for listening. I'm sure you have been imparted with a lot of wisdom and advice and tips regarding real estate, renting, and owning. And we will see you on the next episode of Afros in the Diaspora, the Express Corner. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for watching Afros in the Diaspora, the Experts Corner. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us for more practical insights and to join the community. I remain Sarah Owadiaye, and we'll see you next time.